I don't have time, unfortunately. Just games are hard to find time for.
So, we got a thing that's happening at 8 o'clock.
We do.
We do.
Which is most definitely musically related. How do we feel about answering a question about our musical backgrounds?
Kick it.
Yeah, so go on the room, list any instruments that you play, and also please mention anyone else that has played the... Yeah, if anyone else has any information about anyone else who knows about instruments that are played by Desert Bus team members.
Well, we talked about it a little bit yesterday when we
Yeah.
were talking about brass v woodwinds and
It was
so
a very
forth.
quick go around.
But I joined, so when I went to grade school, the way that it worked here, which is not how it works now, is that you had elementary school, which was K through 7, and then high school was 8 through 12. And so in grade 6, you could join band. And I was like, yes, I want to join band and I want to play the drums because I thought I had a good sense of rhythm. And frankly, I still think I have a pretty good sense of rhythm, but for whatever reason, the band teacher was like, no, we already have a drummer, you should play trombone. Which is a great way to make sure that a kid really sticks to the instrument and, really making sure that they're really invested in what they're doing. So I played trombone in grade 6 and 7, and the best song was Let's Go Band, because it's the only time the trombones got to do anything interesting.
Right.
Because it's a song that is designed specifically so that everyone gets to do something interesting. And then in high school, I was like, well, I guess I'm still in band, and in grade 8, you had to take either band or the fine arts rotation, which was you would do basically everything else to sort of get like a broad experience of what the high school had to offer, and then in grade 9 you would specialize. And so I was like, great, I'll do band. Let me tell you, the transition between grade 7 and grade 8 showed how bad I was, because suddenly everyone who was in band in grade 8 were people who really wanted to be there. And I was okay with being there. And so what ended up happening was halfway through the year, we were like, the band teacher and I were like, this isn't working for either of us, is it? No, it's not. And so I had to go to the...
And you went on 90-second divorcee.
So I had to go to the admin and be like, what do we do?
Yeah.
And they were like, well, if we put you back in the arts rotation, you'll have missed half of it. But some of the courses only ran like half the year, so they were like, do you want to just go into even though you're in grade 8, you want to just go into a grade 9-10 acting class? And I was like, that sounds great. That seems much more my speed. And that's where I met Jeremy. Yeah, who was, and then that sort of snowballed eventually into like, hey, you should come to my friend Bill's place and play D&D, and sort of.
And then on into
tumbled further from there, but yeah,
this.
that's I was fine at trombone. I was not very good at it.
The good old mediocre trombone to internet stardom pipeline.
Yep, highly recommend.
The classic.
Yeah.
What about I want to do the full rotation of the room here.
I was very bad at alto saxophone. That was me. I played the alto sax using a very generous definition of the term alto sax. My formative experiences as they pertain to band are as follows. One, in grade 9, I think, we made the transition from like concert band to jazz band. And our band instructor got everybody to do solos. And I have always struggled with being put on the spot. I don't like being put on the spot. I like having some degree of preparation. And so all I was able to get out in my solo in like the beginning of grade 9 band class was a handful of, they were on the correct jazz scale, but they were all whole notes, and I got relentlessly made fun of and never got to solo again. Which is like, awesome, fantastic. That really helped my confidence level. And so Then the next major thing I remember doing in band is going skiing at Apex Mountain because we played at the Okanagan Jazz Band Festival, and I was a completely unremarkable jazz band player, but I skied the pants off of everybody else on my band.
Yeah.
And then the next thing I remember is having moved to Victoria in grade 11. Joining the band, and there was going to be a marching band component of the Oak Bay Parade, and I begged the teacher to just let me be a flag carrier because I knew I would not be able to do the music justice. So that was my experience of...
I did flag carrying in the Oak
Yeah.
Bay band once, too, yeah. Actually, I should say, prior to the trombone, and this is probably true for many people here, I don't know how broadly this goes. I feel like this is countrywide. I don't know if this extends into the States, but it's like grade 4, they slap a recorder in your hand and you're going to learn some scales.
Absolutely not.
No.
Not in Alberta.
Really? Okay.
At the time.
They sure did for
yeah,
me.
they definitely did in Alberta.
Oh.
Yeah, I learned recorder in Alberta.
Yeah.
So
Ben, you are a generation away from me.
okay. So
Yeah.
I got
Ian
hit
missed
with
it, but you got okay. Interesting.
And they sure did in Connecticut, and they sure still do in Washington. Let me tell you.
So I can still do like Skyboat song from memory,
can do
which
some basics.
is very similar to,
But not exactly
but
like.
not exactly like the Picard's flute.
Noskin flute?
It's not Nausicaan, but it's the one from the Inner Light.
Yeah.
Which I practiced it so much before the end of last year's Desert Bus. And as Max, I think it was, pointed out to me afterwards, I was practicing it while standing, which is much better for your breath. And when we did it for real live, I was seated, which is why it squeaked, because my breath wasn't there, and I felt I was like, oh, I ruined it. So, oh well.
Before we move on,
Yeah.
just as a thing we have in common, in grade 7, I had a band teacher, and we were still doing recorder. We didn't have instruments at that point, but I had a band teacher who had a drum kit in the band portable, and would let us go in and play the drum kit if we were interested in our off hours. And I tore that drum kit up. I fucking I'm bussing. Love those drums, and I owe $1 to the dollar jar. But anyhow, I used to love those drums, and would have loved to have carried on and done more drumming. But my parents wanted me to play the saxophone, and by the time I got to high school, they already had a drummer.
Bummer.
Elementary school for me was musically droutish. I absolutely hated music class because we would sit on the floor in lines and sing songs while making hand motions for whatever note of the scale. The do re mi scale as well, not even a.
Carry on.
During that time, my parents decided that they wanted to educate me culturally, and so signed my brother and I up for piano lessons, which started out classical, just regular classical piano, and then moved into a jazz piano. I never really took to the piano, though, unfortunately, but I still know enough to be able to plunk things out and make a melody. Junior high was when we actually got into instruments, and we were given a chance to line up in front of a junior high student who would be showcasing their instrument for us and let us play it. And I chose to stand in front of the euphonium and knocked the socks off that thing immediately. That mouthpiece hits the mouth just right. So I got into euphonium.
Why you got to say it like that?
Because...
And why do you gotta mime it while you're doing it? It was not even just the saying. It was
why.
Hashtag euphonium euphoria.
Yeah.
Slower.
Get that embouchure.
Don't knock the euphonium mouthfeel.
So, junior high comes about. I'm in the concert band for euphonium, and then we get to grade 8, and that's when jazz band starts. I really want to be in the jazz band because I like to play good, fun music rather than classical music. And I asked the teacher, hey, can I join the jazz band? I know that the euphonium plays in the same register as the trombone. Can I just play the euphonium? Absolutely not.
You could have been the world's first jazz euphonist.
Probably still could.
Busters.
Euphonymist.
But this led to an opportunity in that they didn't have a bass player. That Ian, would you like to play the bass? Sure, I guess. He lets me be in the jazz band. Great. You're going to have to learn how to play the bass. Our first concert is in a few weeks. We're playing Louie Louie. So my uncle, who taught music at the U of A, came over to our place, gave me a crash course in ba ba bum, ba bum, ba bum, and that was good enough. I was hooked.
Yeah.
And every musical opportunity I had in high school to that point, to play bass, to play euphonium, into it 100%, and then get to university and fall right off the wagon because I'm going to be an engineer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm really frustrated that we all have stories about just getting like sandbagged.
Yeah.
The school system working as intended.
What if, bold suggestion, what if the teachers and parents in some situations wanted to just let the kids experiment with the instruments that they were interested in?
There was a Fresh Prince episode about that.
Yeah. Like,
Funding.
would the world come undone
Funding.
if there was a grade 8 jazz euphonium?
A lot of it comes down to
Probably not.
availability of instruments, unfortunately.
We had to rent our own instruments.
Oh, then yeah,
different
your
up
school's
here.
different.
Yeah,
Okay.
and my parents were thrilled that I came home and I said, I guess I'm playing trombone, and they went, great, I
Yes.
guess we're buying a trombone. No, they were not happy
Oh,
about it.
I mean, given the choice between trombone and drums, I'm surprised they weren't like.
Drums was the one exception. They had drums, and all the drummers had to do was have a practice pad.
Really?
Yeah.
You think some son of mine is gonna make me take out a second mortgage to buy a bassoon?
See, I rented my saxophone.
Accent was that?
That was
Yes.
half Scottish, half Albertan, half.
It was going on a trip. I loved it. Yeah.
Came places.
That was terrific.
We have a giveaway to draw at some point, and
Oh,
we have a
God.
concert coming up. So why don't we run through the rest of the room here? I wasn't expecting that to
Sorry.
degrade into the band story.
You set us
I
off
did,
over
yeah.
here.
That
Brought
is
some
on me.
stuff up.
Julie, you have
Julie, you
anything?
got an
Yeah,
instrument?
I did piano all through to grade 8 RCM. Did flute in high school band and was solidly fine. And now I do choir and classical voice.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I did piano as a kid. My parents put me in classical piano basically against my will, but whatever. And I did it for, I don't know, somewhere between 5 and 8 years. And it was not super fun, but I did eventually get a piano teacher who, like, as soon as my parents left out of the first lesson, he was like, okay, what do you actually want to learn, though?
That's nice.
Nice.
Like, I was like, I don't know, I would like to play music that people listen to. And he's like, okay, great, I'm going to start teaching you about chords and the different ways that pop music is made, kind of thing.
Nice.
Great piano teacher. But I didn't stick with it. I kind of fell off and stopped doing music for a very long time. But more recently, I have a electric guitar, an electric bass guitar, and a copy of Ableton that I mess around with from time to time, just screwing around in my apartment, trying to make sense of all of it and have fun. Yeah, I'm not any good at any of it, but I'm having a good time. So,
That's what's important.
how about you, Jordan? Nothing? No musical instruments?
No instruments. I sang a little bit of choir in middle school, but I was not required to do music in high school.
Okay.
And we just needed to do arts, so I did other arts.
Got it.
Because I had no interest in band. My entire friend group was band kids, but I had no interest in it.
Yeah.
I wanted to add, I have retroactively thought better about the recorder after learning that a bass recorder, which is enormous, was used for the main the main motif for The Mandalorian.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's enormous.
And somebody in chat called me out saying, Andrew, don't you run a Chip Music Festival? Yeah, I produce it. I don't perform in it. But I do also have a Game Boy and a copy of LSDJ that I mess around with. I'm also not very good at that. Colin, you got a musical instrument?
So as a kid, I learned piano,
Sick.
and then eventually I wanted to play the guitar that my sister then learned instead of me, So then I picked up the bass guitar.
Ah, nice.
But I still like the piano. Like I try. Like I have a definitely legal copy of Ableton and Reason. That
Nice.
I still play around with the MIDI keyboards.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have one of those little like MIDI keyboard drum pad things that I have next to my
They're
PC
so
to mess
fun.
around with.
Useful.
Yeah. And our stage friend Max, I can't recall. Do you play any instruments?
Yeah, are you musically
Are you
inclined in
musically
any way?
inclined?
One or two.
Yeah.
I promise I'll get to that. We should draw the winner for this.
Yeah, okay.
Then I'll feel.
Then you'll tell us.
If you must. I was
do that
really
then.
hoping you would no-sell the instrument. Just say no.
I thought there was a chance that they would.
Jargo.
Musician.
It's over there.
Yeah,
Are we
this is
using
the
it for
perfect
that?
opportunity to goof it.